Well, I started my new job and forgot to do Tuesday's Bible study. I work nights now, and I got caught up with some other videos on my other channel and just never did Tuesday Bible study. So I'll do Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's now officially Thursday. We'll get Thursdays tomorrow. And because to me, this is just late Wednesday night. And when 40 years were expired, there appeared to him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai an angel of the Lord in a flame of fire in a bush. No, this is 60. Yes. Yeah, this is 60. So this is Stephen and Stephen's death, and he kneeled down and circled with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. So and I think we ended up reading that the other night, but it's in the column for tonight's Bible study. So now we move on to chapter 8. And Saul was consenting. Saul was all about it unto his death. Saul later became Paul and wrote all the epistles. Because why? He had not been yet called. You must be called by the Lord, your own free will. I tell people, if Paul never got the call, he'd still be killing Christians. Now, obviously, he'd be dead, but you get the idea. And Saul was consenting unto his death. And at the time, there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem, and they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. It's getting pretty lonely. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial and made a great lamentation over him. Kind of like Daniel's lamentation. That's what we called it, didn't we? We said Daniel is lamenting. And so you understand what that means. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house and hailing men and women, committed them to prison. Therefore, they that were scattered abroad went everywhere preaching the word. Then Philip went down to the city of Samaria and preached Christ unto them. And the people with one accord gave heed unto those things which Philip spake, hearing and seeing the miracles which he did. For unclean spirits, crying with a loud voice, came out of many that were possessed with them, and many taken with palsies. What word I got? And I know Hall is Haul. I don't know. Sometimes the King's English throws me off when it's a word I haven't seen. And God, at my age, sometimes there's just drag or draw forcibly. Drag or draw forcibly.
Hail.
He was hailing them. Okay. And hailing men and women, he was dragging them. I mean, hauling them to prison. See, hauling has the U, so it threw me off, the HAL. And then the other hail is HAIL, so I don't know. It just threw me. I'm sorry. And they were healed, and there was great joy in that city. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was the great one. So in other words, he was claiming that he was the great one, or, the Christ. Who knows what he was saying? My goodness, I've been gone like 30 minutes. Cooking. Yeah. So let's get on to Revelation still. in chapter 1. And I turned, this is John talking. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7, this is the church divided by 7. I saw 7 because why? He went down, this is the Old Testament, and dipped himself, a man with leprosy, dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. 7 is the number for cleansing. Does anybody ever tell you that? 7 is the number for cleansing in the Bible. What is the biblical significance of the number 7? Holy mackerel. Because I'm telling you, I was never shown this or told this. And I get tons of stuff from Got Questions back in the day. Now I don't anymore because they don't teach the truth. But let's see, given symbolic concept, Genesis, John, Numbers, Matthew. Less obvious. The first use of 7, Genesis. Finish, complete. And then often found, completeness, perfection, command. Interesting, man was created on the 6th day of creation. 6 associated with mankind. God rested on the 7th day. That's God's number. If God's number is 7, then man's number is 6. 6 always falls. That's what I'd always heard, right? We'd always heard that it's about the number 7 is used more than 50 times in a variety. Now, God created the earth. It's not creation because that was done in 6 days. You know, man was on the 6th day. God rested on the 7th. So it could also mean, I guess, at rest. They're saying completeness. It means completeness. Well, the church is about to go through its cleansing process, which would lead to completeness. And then God's cleansing the earth with the 7 trumpets and 7 bowls, which leads to completeness. I can stretch it to completeness, but in Revelation, it's cleansing. So there's varied meanings for the number 7. I will just be dogmatic about this. In the book of Revelation, it means 7. The church is about to go through its cleansing process. That's what the Great Tribulation is all about. It's to cleanse the church. Most of the sheep are lost. I tell people 99% are lost. Is Trump going down on day 99? Get Smart, Agent 86, Agent 99, 99 Luft balloons. I don't know. He's speaking. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, let me highlight these and see if I'm logged in. Okay. 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Daniel with a golden girdle. And see, I was telling people that that was Jesus. And I think I'm right because he's dressed the same way here. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes the flames of fire. Daniel chapter 10. Gotta be kidding me. Daniel chapter 10, King James Version, Bible Gateway. Sometimes I just get tongue-tied. Is this highlighted? There it is. This is highlighted. I said Jesus is in green, the angel is in blue, that there is actually a switch. Deep sleep, and his face is on the ground, and behold, and hand touched me, which set me up upon my knees. That is not that. That's Jesus up there. Let's go through. A certain man, clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold, and the finest gold in the world came from that region, Uphaz. His body was like a beryl, and his face the appearance of lightning, his eyes sharp as fire, his arms and his feet like colored polished brass, and his voice were the words of the voice of the multitude. He was girded with fine gold. His body was also like beryl, and his face the appearance of lightning. And you get over here in Revelation. I won't be dogmatic about it, but Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were the flame of fire. His eyes were the flame of fire. Same. Now this is the appearance of lightning. Jesus described in Revelation 1.
According to History.com, for many scholars, Revelation chapter 1 verses 14 to 15 offers a clue that Jesus' skin was a darker hue and that his hair was woolly in texture. The hairs of his head, it says, were white as white wool, white as snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined as in a furnace.
So it's widely believed that it's Jesus, of course. That's what we're speaking of here, and I will tell you that. And that I believe that was Jesus in Daniel 10 also. Many of the exact same descriptions. Hairs were like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were the flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as they burned in a furnace, and his voice the sound of many waters. Voice the sound of many waters, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. The voice of many waters means the voice of a multitude. And I heard something like the voice of a great multitude, and like the sound of many waters. What do waters represent? The waters which you saw where the harlots, people sit where the multitudes. The waters were the multitudes. The waters which you saw where the harlot sits are peoples, multitudes, and nations. I'm telling you, it's the same. He had the voice of many waters. He had the voice of the multitude. That's Jesus in Daniel. Now we know for sure. I was telling it and teaching it and preaching it like it was. That's why I highlighted that in green, and down here was the angel in blue. That's the angel in blue. A hand touched me. Okay. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword. And his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. Goodness gracious, the same thing in Daniel. Daniel and John. No wonder they're both end times. Therefore I was left alone and saw the great vision, and there was no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned unto me to corruption. I retained no strength. And I heard the voice of his words, and I was in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. I fell at his feet as dead, and he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, I am the first and the last. I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and death. The only argument you can make is that it's all of this. But I know that that's an angel. That's a spirit prince of Persia. So no. The angel touched him and woke him up in Daniel. Jesus touched him and got him back together himself. It's the only difference. I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and death. Write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches. The 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. It's the church divided into 7 because it's about to go through the cleansing process. Love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.